Hey guys, welcome back. So, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it is finally time for me to do this because this album meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to the band. Too Close to Touch released an album just last week, I believe. I believe that's right. And I did listen to every single track on that album. And so we're going to talk about the songs. We're going to kind of go over some points of what made the songs good and kind of whether or not this was a good album or if this was a mediocre album or whether it was just bad overall. And if you guys want to see more of this kind of content, we've got more coming. So we have the new Judas Priest. Eventually, when the new Trapped stuff comes out, like the full album, then we'll do that too. But if there are other albums that you guys want to see a review on, just in general, like even it could be old as hell, like, and I'll still give it a review if you guys really want that. But as you guys know, we mainly do reaction stuff on this channel. So without further ado, let's get into the album. So first off, the first song on the album was Novocaine. So Novocaine was the second single that came off of the album. So it was a heavy hitter. It was a great single. And if you guys want to check out the reaction to that, feel free to check out the channel and take a look. But it featured Bad Omens, and it really, really showcased Keaton's voice. It was one of those ones that, like, it's if you go back and listen to previous albums by Too Close to Touch, you really start seeing Keaton has the songs that he shines the most when it comes to his vocals, and then he's got other ones where the instrumental helps tell the story. This is one of the ones where it was mainly Keaton, in my opinion, that really put this one together. And it just felt great. Plus, with the Bad Omens backing it and helping create the song with Too Close to Touch, as they are friends, it just made that song that much better. We got Disappear, which is the second song off the album. Disappear was one that I wasn't entirely sure about at first. It grew on me, but it felt, excuse me, it felt very crowd focused. Like if Keaton was still alive, this would have been something that the crowd would have sang. There's a lot of ooh, ah kind of stuff, a lot of crowd interaction, it feels like, but I don't know 100% if that's exactly what they were going for. It was very, very emotional. And the reason I kind of had problems with it at first, but it kind of grew on me, was that it had a lot of traces of the pop music progressions that tend to show up in modern day pop. But like I said, it grew on me. It's one of those things that, like, as soon as I start to recognize it, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get what they're going for. But then, like, as the more and more that you listen, you kind of really feel it. And of course, that song also had a very, very soothing piano. I believe that was like in the intro, and throughout the song, it was a very, very melancholy kind of feeling, and it really does hit you deep in the emotional area. But it was a great song. I really liked it. Won't you stay away? Your words are such a waste. When you disappear, when you feel afraid, you'll crawl right back to me. Then you disappear. And then we've got Hurt Reynolds. So this one was very weird in my opinion. It was a good song, but it had this really weird feeling to it. So it felt very very raw. It almost felt like they took the recordings from like a phone or like from like a home office mic or something that was different, you know? And so it really felt more raw. But in that point, it's hard to make anything feel natural these days when it comes to music because everything is processed. Everything is just clean, electronic. Everything is basically too perfect sometimes. And this song kind of reminds me that raw stuff does still exist. And the song's progression and the way that it felt, it very, very much so felt like it was almost post-hardcore or even just kind of like hardcore as far as the progression goes, but it wasn't a hardcore song, if you get what I mean. It was very punkish as well. Had a very catchy chorus. I can't even remember it off the top of my head right now. It's been about a week since I listened to the album. And I've listened to like songs every now and again, especially the singles. But it was really cool. It had a really sick breakdown about 2/3 of the way through. And the vocal type was very different. It did not feel like your normal Too Close to Touch kind of album song. It kind of felt more like they wanted to break out with this one. So it felt really, really good. Then we've got Hopeless. Hopeless was made in collaboration with The Word Alive, who were also friends of Too Close to Touch and Bad Omens, as they've collaborated in the past. It felt like very, very classic Too Close to Touch. The way that it was kind of slower, more melodic, and obviously we've got to talk about that crazy high scream from Keaton. That's one of the one things that always puts me in an uncomfortable position, but in a good way. Like, I get chicken skin, I get goosebumps all over my body when I hear that much emotion and power being put into somebody's voice, and let alone music, you know? So with the way that this song actually felt, it was classic, it felt great, and it was exactly what the fan base needed when it came to this song. It was just so, so good. And then, of course, we got to talk about Heavy Hearts. Heavy Hearts was a very, very acoustic song. It really, really pulls at the heartstrings with the almost the vulnerable state that they kind of put themselves in when it came to this. It was an amazing, amazing showcase of just the different feelings and ranges that Keaton was able to pull as a vocalist and as a musician in general. The song felt amazing. It felt like it belonged on the album, and it almost even felt like Keaton was paying tribute to himself in a sense. And as weird as that sounds, it makes sense. It was so good. Like, it felt so good. Don't ask me why I wait for someone that won't show. Don't ask me how I stay awake when you're fast asleep in a dream that does not involve me. Then next on the album, we had Control, which was another single. That was the first single that they released. Had an amazing song structure, Very, very catchy chorus. I mean, if you guys really want to know how that song felt and the way that I felt about the song when it first came out, feel free to check out the reaction. It's on the channel. I'll make sure and see if there's a way that I can't link them in the description. Then we had Designer Decay, and this actually featured Kane Hill. Now, I don't know of any kind of like relation between Too Close to Touch and Kane Hill. I know who Kane Hill is. I've heard a couple of their songs, but I've never heard mention of them from like fans of Too Close to Touch or Bad Omens or Word Alive. But I do know that they are a newer upcoming band, and they do have some great music. It felt like a really big mix of punk, hip hop, and metalcore. Obviously, this felt like they kind of went back in time in a sense and made a song that kind of fit both bands. And so if both bands were to get together, that's kind of what I would feel that they would make, you know? Kind of like a nice collaboration effort. And then the last song we had was They Don't Even Know. I personally did not really care for this song. And as much as I hate saying it, it's still a Too Close to Touch song. So it's one of those ones that, like, if I listen to this album in succession, I would listen to it. But if I'm just listening to the best bangers of Too Close to Touch, this is not on that list, in my opinion. It was definitely not the strongest song on the album, and it definitely had a very weird song structure that just, it almost didn't feel right, and I don't know if that was just because Keaton was gone before they finished it, or if this was like a last-minute idea, or what it was. But the end of the song was really good. So, and that's what kind of like makes it belong in the album. It just felt like it kind of closed out properly. So while it's not the strongest song on the album, I don't think it was ever meant to be. I felt like it was meant to be the closer of the album to finally say goodbye to Keaton. But it's not a bad song. It just had a really good ending to it. But that's it. That's my thoughts in the review. As far as an overall, as the last Too Close to Touch album, and it saddens me to say, this was one of their best. And unfortunately, this is going to be the last. Keaton passed away years ago now, and it's extremely sad because we miss Keaton a lot. We loved Keaton. I mean, he was the heart of that band, and unfortunately, from what I've been told, is that they will no longer be a band after this. This is the last. There's no more touring. There's no more, albums coming out. They're not even going to use the name anymore. They're all going to go their separate ways, and that's sad because just going over this, the amount of work that I put into listening and, talking about this band, they helped me through the hardest times of my life, and it's sad to see that the guy that was responsible for helping me, unfortunately, didn't even get the greatest end. He didn't get to live a nice long life, and it just goes to show that we shouldn't take our days for granted, But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to check out more, I've got more coming, but please suggest some albums that you would love to see a review on. And if you guys want to check out the reaction videos on the channel, feel free to click up here, or feel free to subscribe so that way, you be let known when new videos come out, whether it be a reaction, whether it be memes. And just as a heads up, we've been streaming over on Twitch. So feel free to head over to Twitch and follow. The link is twitch.tv/T_LOCK22. We've been streaming games. We've been playing Need for Speed, but the music in that game and multiple games have kind of been crazy over the years, and we always talk about it. Along with, we do a lot of crazy stuff over there. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, rock on and goodbye.